Georg Simmel is another German sociologist who is considered as one of the prominent figures in the early development of sociology. He considers that the society as forms of interaction. One of the, let's say, contribution to this discipline was his focus on interaction. So sociology as a subject or as a profession did not exist at that time. Nevertheless, Simmel tried to focus on interaction. He thought that we cannot study society unless we focus on interaction. In fact, society is a product of interactions. Interactions might be in action of one person influencing the state of mind of the other person, and then there is some reciprocity in the interactions. Now, these people who are interacting, that becomes a particular, let's say, a group, and therefore he was considering that the society is composed of a variety of groups, and the groups emerge because of this interaction. Therefore, if we want to study the society, our focus has to be on interaction. Therefore, his interest was to focus on interaction. This interaction can produce different forms. These forms of interaction, these forms could be, let us say, cooperative kind of interaction. It could be competitive kind of interaction. And in certain extreme kind of situations, it might be conflicting kind of interaction. Now, this interaction can also be, let us say, between two persons or number of persons. So the group within which interaction takes place might be composed of two persons. He called it as Dyad, or it could be three persons, it could be Triad, or it could be many more persons in this group. So different, if we have to study society, we have to study interaction in different settings. Settings could be form of groups. Within the group, there could be different form of interaction as well. So we have to look into units of people who are interacting amongst between themselves or amongst themselves, because interaction has to be more than two persons in the situation. So we could consider it as a unit. Now that unit could be of two persons or more than two persons. He used these kind of words. And within this group, it could be cooperative kind of interaction. It could be, let's say, competitive kind of interaction. And maybe these, not only the individuals interact with each other, the groups can also interact with each other. The focal point is interaction. So when we look at the groups which, let's say, interact, we might move on to a situation where division of labor comes into existence. So within the group, there can also be a division of labor. Between the groups, there can also be a division of labor. One group might be focusing on one kind of activity, other could be another kind of activity, and there is interdependence of these groups. Could be a party. Within the party, there could also be a division of labor. In the system, economic system, there could also be division of labor. Now, when we look into these groups, definitely there are certain forces which bring people together. So if people are interacting within a unit, there must be some motives, some forces which might be bringing them together and putting them into an interactive kind of situation. Now, in this interaction, the interactants can be having different statuses, different positions, and if we want to study, let's say, society, then we have to study these interactions. Therefore, his focus was on interaction, and that if the subject of sociology has to study society, then the sociology must focus on the interaction as well as the forms of interaction, whether these are cooperative kind of interaction, cooperative form of interaction, competitive kind of interaction, and there could be other forms as well. So in his view was that society is always moving in a dynamic kind of situation. And in this dynamism, the variety of groups come into existence, and these groups again try to interact with each other. So these groups, these units, these forms continuously keep on emerging, and that is how his focus was on the study of society. And in order to study society, focus has to be on interacting. And when we talk about interacting, definitely takes into consideration the number of persons, and it has to be more than one person. Now, the number could be from anywhere from 2 to unlimited kind of numbers. So groups can be small groups, can be large groups, and therefore also it leads to some kind of interdependence of groups. Interdependence leads to some kind of division of labor, and this division of labor continuously goes on, and interaction is part and parcel of this division of labor and the interactions between the groups.